see my life as a farmer. So I decided wisest thing to do was just call it quit, get the hell out, and go do something.
Deep in the frozen heart of the Yukon, something was discovered that would shake even Tony Beets, the fearless king of the Klondike. For years, viewers of Gold Rush have watched him conquer storms, floods, and failure. But this time, the danger wasn't in the ground. It was inside his dredge. What his crew found buried within that machine wasn't gold. It was something alive, something ancient, and something that defied all logic. Even Tony couldn't explain it. And after that day, the mine was never the same again. Because some treasures aren't meant to be unearthed, and some machines should never have been turned on. It began like any other morning at the Beets mine. The air was sharp, the kind that cuts through breath and skin. A thin mist blanketed the ground, wrapping the heavy equipment in ghostly fog. You could hear the familiar rhythm of the Yukon, the grinding of gears, the distant echo of engines warming up, the creak of steel waking from a long, cold night. Tony Beets walked across the site, boots sinking into the damp earth, his eyes sweeping every inch of the ground. His cap was pulled low, and he squinted at the machines like a man who could hear their secrets. To Tony, a wrong sound was more than noise. It was a warning. That morning, something unusual caught his attention. A strange sound rolled out from deep inside the dredge. It wasn't the groan of an engine or the rattle of chains. It was something slower, deeper, almost like a heartbeat echoing through metal. At first, the crew ignored it. Out there, strange sounds were part of the job. But as minutes passed, even over the roar of excavators, the noise persisted. Steady and heavy, like something alive beneath their feet. Tony turned sharply. "You guys hear that?" he asked. Rick, his longtime right-hand man, nodded. "Yeah, boss. Sounds like it's coming from under the dredge." Tony frowned. That tight, uneasy frown that always meant trouble. He walked closer, the ground crunching beneath his boots. The sound grew louder, pulsing through the steel. Then, without warning, it stopped. The entire mine went silent. No wind, no birds, no humming engines. Even the fog seemed to hold its breath. Tony signaled for a flashlight. Rick handed one over, and Tony ran the beam along the lower panels of the dredge. That's when he saw it. A slick trail glistening faintly against the cold metal. It looked wet, almost oily, like something had leaked. He reached out and touched it with the tip of his glove. Immediately, he froze. The substance was icy cold, far colder than the air around them. It wasn't water, it was thick, metallic, and as he pulled back, it clung to his glove, stretching thin like living mercury. "What in the world?" Tony muttered, rubbing his glove against his jeans. But the substance didn't come off. It crawled, thin and deliberate, spreading like it had a mind of its own. Suddenly the dredge groaned. The sound was deep and violent, rattling the steel. The men jumped back as Tony barked, "Everyone stay clear!" Then came the voice. It was faint, almost swallowed by the wind, but unmistakably human. A whisper, echoing from inside the dredge. Rick's face turned pale. "You heard that, didn't you?" he said. Tony nodded slowly. "Yeah, I heard it." Then came a new sound. A slow, rhythmic clicking, like the dredge itself was trying to start its own heartbeat. And before anyone could react, the massive machine jolted forward. Chains rattled, buckets slammed. The entire valley shook. "Shut it down!" Tony yelled, but no one was near the controls. The dredge was running on its own. The men backed away, eyes wide, the noise so loud it drowned every thought. Then, as suddenly as it began, everything stopped. Silence. Tony stood still, breath visible in the freezing air. "Rick," he said, "go check inside." Rick hesitated but climbed up the steel ladder. The flashlight beam disappeared into the dark. Minutes passed. Then his voice echoed out, shaken but steady. "Tony, you need to see this." Inside the dredge, half buried in dirt and rust, lay something that didn't belong. It wasn't gold, not even metal they recognized. It was a slab, smooth, carved, and glowing faintly beneath the grime. Strange markings covered its surface, symbols that looked impossibly old. Rick whispered, "Boss, that's not from here." Tony stared at it for a long moment, then finally said, "Shut it down. We're done for today." That night, when the others left, Tony stayed behind. He climbed back into the dredge alone. The cold bit through his gloves, but he didn't care. He just wanted to see it again, to be sure it was real. But when he reached the spot, it was gone. Only a faint mark remained, a shallow scratch on the metal floor, and a smell in the air, sharp and wrong, like rust mixed with burnt oil. Tony ran his hand over it, confused, uneasy. He turned his flashlight across the walls, whispering into the dark. "Rick, you hear?" No answer, only silence, the kind that feels like it's listening. The next morning, the crew returned, quiet and tense. No one wanted to talk about the night before. When Tony walked up, they fell silent altogether. But then Tony noticed something he couldn't ignore. Footprints near the dredge. Small. Too small for any of his men. And they led deep inside. He stepped closer, following the prints until the air grew colder. Then a whisper drifted through the dark. Faint, soft, almost childlike. His heart pounded. He backed out slowly, never turning his back on the dredge. When Rick found him outside, Tony's face was pale. "Find anything?" Rick asked. Tony shook his head. "Nothing," he lied. From that day on, no one wanted to go near the dredge. Even when Tony Beets gave direct orders, the men found excuses. Hydraulics need checking. Pumps jammed. But deep down, they all felt it. That uneasy hum that seemed to vibrate through the metal. Like the machine itself was alive and watching them. By noon, the strange metallic slab they'd uncovered began to shift again. The carvings smoothed out, rearranging into shapes none of them recognized. When Tony touched it, he swore it moved beneath his fingers, pulsing like a heartbeat trapped in steel. He pulled back, shaken. "Wrap it up," he ordered. "Don't leave it out again." But the wrapping didn't help. That night, one of the men claimed to see a faint blue glow leaking from inside the dredge. He never showed up the next morning. Fear spread fast through the camp. Then Caleb, another miner, came running with the tarp. "Boss, that thing's changing again," he said. Tony lifted it and froze. The carvings had reformed into a perfect eye. He ran his glove across it, and it twitched. Tony jerked back, whispering, "Cover it. Don't touch it again." But deep down, he knew the thing wasn't done with them yet. That night, Tony Beets stayed behind at the old dredge one final time. The rest of the crew had gone, leaving only the hum of the Yukon wind and the distant rush of the river. Inside, the massive machine groaned like a sleeping beast as Tony placed the strange metallic slab on the rusted table. It began to glow, faintly at first, then brighter, filling the dredge with an eerie golden light that danced across the walls. Shadows shifted and twisted, forming shapes that weren't his own. The air vibrated with a low, resonant hum that grew deeper, heavier, until it rattled every bolt and beam. Tony stumbled back, his heart hammering in his chest, his breath caught between awe and fear. The glow intensified, swallowing the room in blinding light. And then, silence. Everything went black. When he woke, dawn had already broken over the Yukon. The dredge was still. The air hung thick and heavy. The slab was gone. Disoriented, Tony climbed out, blinking against the morning sun. The Yukon River shimmered unnaturally calm, its surface unbroken by wind or current. Standing beside him, Rick asked quietly, "You think it's down there?" Tony didn't turn. His voice trembled when he answered, "It's not down there, Rick. It's everywhere now." That was the last time anyone ever saw Tony Beets. His truck remained parked by the cabin, engine still warm. His boots sat neatly by the door. On the seat lay a folded note, its contents never revealed. After that day, the Beets mine was never the same. The dredge stood silent against the Yukon sky. But at night, locals swore they saw flickering lights inside. Some claimed to hear footsteps echoing through the halls. Others said they heard Tony's voice, calling softly from within. Even now, tourists visit. Though few stay long, the air there feels wrong, thick with something unseen. And when the sun dips below the horizon, a strange golden glow leaks through the dredge's cracks, as if the slab, or something far older, still breathes within. Maybe it's just reflection. Maybe it's something else, something that was never meant to be disturbed. So, what really happened to Tony Beets that night? Was it just a malfunction of metal and memory? Or did he awaken something far older? Something that should have stayed buried beneath the Yukon forever? Let us know your theories in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more chilling gold rush mysteries. Thanks for watching.